Welcome. Welcome to our English class. Again, this is your mom Carl together with teacher Carrie TV. So I would like to share the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so there you go. PowerPoint presentation prepared by Mom Ronquillo and Mom Melanie. Okay. So guys, Driving Ms.Daisy is an English play and we will be tackling about it today. Okay, so while I post some introduction, let me show our class objectives or expectation after reading the play. Now, aside from reading the play, we can also watch some we can also watch some guides and we can also watch some guides and we can also watch some guides in the internet. Okay, so after reading the excerpt, you're expected to analyze literature as a means of connecting to the world. So we know that literature mirrors what is happening on that time or era when the writing was made. So literature, you can say that literature mirrors the reality or what can happen, what is happening. Okay, that is why we have the background of the literature. Okay, what else? Use descriptions as clues to figure out the given word. Okay, so this is using context clues. Okay, so aside from that, what else? So I'm trying to share a to share this live. I hope my students can join. So far I have one one view. Okay. So we're ready. Okay. So use descriptions as clues to figure out the given word. So this is basically context clues. Arrange events according to a sequence in the story. Okay. Beforehand, we would have three reading tasks. So this is to arrange the jumbled letters. The first one, 6 words, and the meaning is to feel or express annoyance. Annoyance. So what do you think? Okay, as a clue, it starts with R. Okay, starts with letter R. Starts with letter R and then ends with a letter T. Okay, number 2. To withhold acceptance, compliance, or permission. So for this one, starts with letter R and ends with letter E. What do you think are the two words? Okay. If you're with me right now, you can type in your answers. With name and section. So the first one again starts with letter R, ends with letter T. And for the next one, number 2 starts with letter R again and ends with letter T. The first one is T. The second one ends with letter E. Okay. So I hope you got the first two words. Okay. The first two words. Okay. So aside from that, okay, can we change? Zoom this. Okay. Like that. Okay. So the first one to feel or express annoyance, and the second one to withhold acceptance, compliance, or permission. Both words for number 1 and 2 starts with letter R, and number 1 ends with letter T, as in taboo, and number 2 E as in egg. Okay, so let's keep the ball rolling. Let's go to number 3. What do you think is the word that means to be firm about something demanded? Firm starts with letter I and ends with letter T. Number 4 starts with letter U, ends with letter T. That means to trouble mentally or emotionally. Are you right now? Something like that. So number 5, letter F is the start and ends with letter D. That means prohibit, not allowed, or ban. What is the word that starts with letter F and ends with D? Number 6, the quality of being impertinent or disrespect. So there is already the clue. Impertinent. Impertinence. Okay. Can we put impertinence in that one? And then number 7 and 8. To hinder or prevent. Hinder or prevent. I guess it has the same answer with number 5. Starts with letter F, ends with letter D. And number 8, the action of a lever or the mechanical advantage gained by it. So lever, there you go, the clue. Lever for number 8. Number 7, slide 7, number 9. A meal held in recognition of some occasion or achievement. Starts with B, ends with T. How do you call the meal specially prepared for someone? Ah, okay. Number 10. How about experiencing difficulty? Starts with letter D and ends with S. Okay, so I hope you got some of the letters or some of the questions you able to answer. Next, let's have the synopsis. So, Driving Miss Daisy, Part 2. Okay. This is for grade 9 students and for junior high. So, we have the cast of characters. Daisy Worthan, a widow. Hope Coburn, her chauffeur. Okay, someone who drives. Anboli Worthan, her son. So, the son of the widow. The play spans a period of 25 years in an unbroken series of segments. At the beginning of the play, Daisy Worthan, a 72-year-old Southern Jewish. Okay, so there we can see the characterization of our lead role, Daisy Wortan, 72-year-old Southern Jewish widow, had just crashed her brand new car while backing it out of the garage. So can you figure it out? No? Some an old lady, 72-year-old, crashes her new car. So after the accident, her son Bowley insists that she is not capable of driving. So anybody can just tell her that, hey mom, you're no longer capable of driving. Why don't we have a chauffeur for you? So can you figure out that scene wherein a son is talking to his mother and telling that she should be getting a service of a driver? Okay. Over her protest, he hires a driver who is our second to the lead role, Hope Coburn, an uneducated African American who is 60. So, how would you characterize the driver or the chauffeur, Mr. Hope Coburn? Is he young or is he also old, like Miss Daisy or Mrs. Daisy Werton? So here we have the color of race. So from the first character, we have a Jewish widow, and now the new height chauffeur, we had an uneducated African American. But we can see that he is skilled in driving. So there are already races being mentioned for this. For the first week or so, okay, so let's continue. At first, okay, let me go back to that. Okay. At first, Daisy wants nothing to do with Hope. So we would know her distress, we would know her um prohibiting this man to drive for her. Okay. She is afraid of giving herself the heirs of what do you call this? The heirs of a rich person. Even though Bowley is paying Hook's salary, she strongly values her independence. So she resents having someone around her house. So you remember the first word and our jumbled letters? Resent. So to resent is to not allow somebody or not giving permission to somebody. So Miss Daisy is resenting the service of Mr. Hope. Okay, so let's continue. For the first week or so of Hope's employment, Daisy refuses to let him drive her anywhere. So can you see there the dilemma now that the start of the story? So we have the problem. Mrs. Daisy Wharton crashed her new car, and then Bowley, her son, wanted to hire a chauffeur, and now played by Hope Colburn. But at first, the the old woman wouldn't want the driver to give her service, to have a service from him of driving her anywhere. So we can now see the dilemma or the problem, okay, in the story. Now, because Mrs. Daisy Werton strongly values her independence, so she believes that she can do it on her own. So resents Mr. Hook Colburn. Okay, for the first week or so of Hook's employment, let's continue. Daisy refuses to let him drive her anywhere. He spends his time sitting in the kitchen. One day, however, he points out that a lady such as herself should not be taking the bus. So at this point of time, at last, Mrs. Daisy Wharton realized that why should I be getting into the bus? Why should I be exasperating myself, tiring myself using the um what do you call this, the bus, or something that is given to more of the people for the community, while she had her own car, right, and even her own chauffeur. So let's continue. He also points out, so in this time, Hooks is telling Mrs. Daisy, like persuading her, maybe you can go somewhere else. So, a lady such as you should not be just inside your house, should not be getting tired of getting into the public bus, something like that. So in this part, Hope Colburn, who's already the chauffeur, is trying to convince her, let's go somewhere else. Why not take my service? He also points out that he is taking her son's money for doing nothing. So taking for granted of the salary Bowley is giving the son of Daisy Wharton, giving to the chauffeur, since the chauffeur is just sitting there at the kitchen and waiting for Mrs. Daisy Wharton to take advantage of the service that he is offering. Daisy responds by reminding Hope that she does not come from a wealthy background. She relents and allows him to drive her to the grocery store. Okay, so let me go back to that again. She does not come. Okay. So in this part, we will know that Daisy is telling Hope Colburn that they're not actually rich. No. Uh, that she identifies herself as, we can say, just in the middle class, not from a rich family, that she doesn't need a chauffeur herself to drive her to the grocery. So let's see how how the story goes. Daisy responds by reminding Hope that she does not come from a wealthy background, but she relents and allows him to drive her to the grocery store. So at last, Mrs. Daisy now allows the chauffeur to drive her to the grocery. She insists on maintaining control, however, telling him where to turn and how fast to drive. On another outing, she gets upset. So we would see that is the word in number four, upset, not feeling good or being annoyed. That is the meaning. Okay, so now we unlock the next word, upset. Okay. When he parks in the front of the temple to pick her up, afraid that people will be thinking she is giving herself airs. So what is the meaning giving herself airs? It's as if she doesn't want people to think that she is proud. Okay, next. So she doesn't want this attention from other people. One morning, Bowley comes over after Daisy calls him up. extremely upset. Extremely upset. Okay, wait. So how can we have this one be? Okay, that one. She has discovered that Hope is stealing from her a can of salmon. She wants Bowley to fight. So Hope right away, her words also show her prejudice against African Americans. Bowley at last gives up when Hope arrives. Bowley calls him aside for a talk. First, however, Hope wants to give something to Daisy, a can of salmon, to replace the one he ate the day before. Daisy, trying to regain her dignity, says goodbye to Bowley. Hope continues to drive for Daisy. She also teaches him to read and write. When she gets a new car, he buys her old one from the dealer. Okay, so there you would see that maybe Mr. Hope had already hungry, is already hungry, took this can of salmon, but Hope would want to give it back to Miss Daisy. Now, Miss Daisy, we would know that she already had this prejudice against African Americans. See, at first we would see her; she wouldn't want to have or to announce or to have what they call this point of view. The people would see her rich, but then we would see the other side of Miss Daisy, that she had this prejudice for the chauffeur. For we know at the first or the onset of the play, it was said that Mr. Hoke is an uneducated African man, 60-year-old man, but he knows how to drive. See that there is what they call this onset of the play. We would say that Mrs. Daisy has no confidence on her chauffeur, that they do not have the trust, or maybe having a trust issue because of the race of the man. So we would see the other colors of this very exciting play, or an excerpt of the play. So at this time, maybe Mrs. Daisy had come to her senses and, you know, also been sorry because she already prejudged the man who just took a can of salmon, just one can. Is that already stealing? So maybe the person is just really starving. So we would see that there is a twist in the story. In this time, they say now is not only showing her forgiveness, but also trying to what they call this one, trying to help Hook on the other way, teaches him to read and write. So we would see that there had been a good relationship right now, a friendship between them. When she gets a new car, and then even though Mrs. Daisy is telling that she's not rich, but this again is an instance where we can tell that she's rich because she got another new car. Mr. Hook buys the old one. Okay, so when they see in her 80s, okay, from 72, remember the age of Mrs. Daisy? Now she has a long life. She makes a trip by car to Alabama for a family birthday party. So there you see an 80-year-old woman driving her new car. Is this amazing? 80-year-old can still drive a car. She's upset the bully will not accompany her. So remember, bully is her son, but he and his wife are going to New York and already have ticket for theater tickets. On the trip, Daisy learns that this is Hope's first time leaving Georgia. Remember that on the onset of the play, they're both in Georgia. And now, the lady is getting into Alabama. Suddenly, Daisy realizes that Hope has taken a wrong turn. She gets frantic and wishes aloud that she had taken the train instead. The day is very long. It is after nightfall that near that they near mobile. Hope wants to stop to urinate, but Daisy forbids him from doing so as they are already late. At first, Hope obeys her, but then he pulls over to the side of the road. Daisy exclaims at his impertinence. Okay, so we would see the next word, impertinence. Okay, number six, that's the word. But Hope does not back down. Okay, Hope is exceedingly loyal to Daisy, but not so loyal that he does not use another job offer as a leverage to get a pay raise. So we can see that there had been another offer to the shopper, but he remains loyal to the to her employer. Okay, to his employer, Daisy. He tells Bowley how much he enjoys being fought over. So we can see that at this time, Hope is enjoying the cat and dog, okay, the fights with Mrs. Daisy. Okay, one winter morning, there is an ice storm. The power has gone out and the roads are frozen over. On the telephone, Bowley tells Daisy he will be over as soon as the roads are clear. Right away, however, Hope comes in. He has experience driving on icy roads from his days as a delivery man. When Bowley calls back, Daisy tells him not to worry about coming over because Hope is with her. Okay, next. In the next segment, Daisy on her way to temple, but there is a bad traffic jam. Hope tells her that the temple has been bombed. Daisy is shocked and distressed. So another word, distress, that is number 10. She says the temple is reformed and can't understand why it is bombed. Hope tells his own story of seeing his friend's father hanging from a tree when he was just a boy. So this one is there's a color of violence, bombing, seeing for a young boy as he is, Hope was able to see or was able to he saw this hanging of his friend's father. So we would have some what they call this, very drastic and violent scene. This one, she doesn't even believe that Hope got the truth. She refuses to see Hope's linkage of prejudice against Jews and African Americans. Though she is quite upset by what has happened, she tries to deny. So there we would see the what they call this, the friction between Jews and African Americans. So you would know more of the culture about this, and it is mirrored in this play. Okay, so the Jew is 82 years old right now, started with 72 years old. Okay, um, tries to deny, okay, the truth. Okay, she's not believing what Hooks is telling her, or Hooks being an African American, okay, ideas, or how Hooks see things on his eyes. Though she is quite upset, okay, she tries to deny it. Another 10 years or so has passed. Daisy and Bowley get into an argument about a Jewish organization's banquet. Very good. So we'll have number 9. Banquet is a meal prepared for someone who's special. Starts with B, ends with T. That is our word number 9. Okay? For Martin Luther King Jr., Daisy assumes Bowley will go with her, but he doesn't want to. He says it hurt his business. Daisy plans on going nonetheless. Hope drives her to the dinner. So, again, in the absence of the son, it is again the chauffeur who's available to accompany Daisy. At the last minute, she offhandedly invites Hope to the dinner, but he refuses because she didn't ask him beforehand. Okay, so in this time, as a sign of courtesy, Mrs. Daisy invites Hope, but because he's not prepared, or maybe if Mrs. Daisy would just told her about beforehand, maybe he would say yes. So like she would anyone else. Okay. As Daisy gets older, she begins to lose her reason. One day, Hook must call Bully because Daisy is having a delusion. Remember, she's already 80 plus something. She thinks she is a school teacher and she is upset because she can't find her students' papers. Before Bowley's arrival, she has a moment of clarity and she tells Hope that he is her best friend. Okay. In the play final segment, Daisy is 97 and Hope is 85. You see, those numbers are very, shocking on my part. They're very old, and yet, we can see Daisy's even having a delusion and having losing her memory. But then we would see a very beautiful friendship between them. And Hoke is 85. Would you imagine a driver? 85. He is full of experience. He got this wisdom on the road, in the journey of his life. Hope no longer drives. Instead, he relies on his granddaughter to get around. Bowley is about to sell Daisy's house. She has been living in a nursing home for 2 years. Hope and Bowley go to visit her on Thanksgiving. She doesn't say much to either of them, but when Bowley starts talking, she asks him to leave, reminding him that Hope came to see her. She tries to pick up her fork and eat her pie. Hope takes the plate and fork from her and feeds her a small bite of pie. So this is already the final segment. So you see there, guys, what are the lessons that we can learn about this play? So we shouldn't be judging other people just because of their race or just because if they're uneducated or not. There should always be the respect and kindness inside everyone's heart. People in our way might be weak, okay, and we are strong. But time will come when we are weak and we will be needing their help. You wouldn't know these people that we look down to may be the ones to help us. So do not um, judge people. Okay, fill out the character analysis diagram to give description to the characters of the play driving Miss Daisy. So character one would be Miss Daisy. Number two, you can have it Bowley or Mr. Hope or vice versa. But I would suggest that number two character will be Hope and number three is Bowley, for we know that the in the ascendance of character, number Hope is number two. So part of the story where it was revealed, Mrs. Daisy on set on the first paragraph on the description there you would see it's a Jewish 72-year-old woman widow. Okay, so there are already the characteristics of the person. Part of the story where it was revealed, so you have to go back through. Okay, on which part they were introduced. Now, answer the following questions in complete sentences. For your answer in this one, you can post it on my account, okay, as a personal message. For number one, at the beginning of the story, what did Daisy discovered about Hope? So at first, she is unsure of him being an uneducated African American. So what does she discovered? Number two, what will be the consequences if Miss Daisy will come to be impolite to Hope? So, what do you think? Will they be able to get along with each other? Remember, guys, the way we treat other people will also be a reflection of how they will treat us. Okay, so if you think Miss Daisy will be impolite, what will happen? Will Mr. Hope respect her in return? What do you think? Number two, what part of the excerpt revealed inequality and unfair treatment? Maybe this time is when Mrs. Daisy is pointing finger to Mr. Hook for getting one can of salmon. Number four, after reading the story, you probably thought about your family, friends, and people in your community and around the world. What connections can you make between the selection and what is happening today? Do you think there is a line between rich people and poor people? How rich people get along with poor people in this time of pandemic? Oh, let's have the community pantry. What do you think? Are there any connection? So for number four, this is your own answer coming from your insight. Number five, during this pandemic of COVID-19, who among the members of the society experienced discrimination? Who do you think are the group of people who are very lost in not having something to eat and the lowest part? Biases, okay. Experience discrimination, biases, and prejudice. What did, why did you say so? So maybe the poor people, and do we care about them or we are poor ourselves? So what should be done? Okay, this direction you just need to check. Okay. When Daisy discovered that Hope was uneducated, she tutored him to read. So what part? Okay, you just need to check the column on which these segments were shown. By doing so, you're able to arrange the sequence in the story. You can always go back to the story itself. Constant kindness can accomplish much. As the sun makes ice melt, kindness causes misunderstanding, mistrust, and hostility to evaporate. Albert Sedgwick. I cannot read the last one. Albert says it. Albert. So constant kindness, guys. So remember to choose kindness, okay? Over being legal, over being because kindness is showing a person, whoever they are, showing respect, okay? So that misunderstanding, any mistrust or hostility is negative, seeing other people in a negative side, you are hostile with other people. So guys, in these times of pandemic, I could only share that number one, we should ask God's guidance. Really, this is a very challenging time. Should pray, trust God, and trust the kindness to every heart of people that we are made in the we were all made in the likeness and image of God. But somehow each of one has their own kindness inside them. Thank you very much for tuning in here in Teacher Carrie TV. And I hope you did learn something new. For our pretest, number one, check if you had it correct. It's resent. Number two, refuse. Number three, insist. Number four, upset. Number five and number seven, forbid. Number six, impertinence. Number eight, leverage. Number nine, banquet. And number 10, distress. And that's all for our lesson. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a blessed day. Goodbye.